folks, welcome. Trent here with Russ, and we're going to talk today about estrogen. What is estrogen? Well, it's no fun, but you know what? It plays a big role in your body. Most people talk about testosterone, but it's ugly stepchild sister, estrogen, right? You know. So, what does estrogen do in the human body? You know, it plays a pivotal role, but a lot of times men have too much of it, or people have too much of it, and that's when it causes a problem. All right. So today, Russ, I'm going to dispel some myths. Tell you what about estrogen and why it causes such an issue and all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, so first of all, oh my gosh.
How about that?
Russ in high school, here we go. Cartoon drawing. So the role of estrogen in men. So obviously, it's one of the hormones. You need it. Okay, it has a lot of positive benefits. Give us some positive benefits, and then we'll get into the negatives when we get too much estrogen.
Yeah, physiologically, we have estrogen. Men and women both need estrogen for the brain to protect the heart and to run the metabolism. But, you know, I was just at a doctor's office 5 days ago, and he prescribes testosterone to people. Well, he's prescribing testosterone to some of his male patients that already have high estrogen. So basically, the testosterone he's prescribing is going to convert to estrogen. He's doing it the wrong way. I'm trying to educate him. I put the research in his hand. Is he going to read it? I don't know. I mean, he's a urologist, and he wants to take care of men, but in this situation, he doesn't understand the importance of how to balance testosterone in men. And as you can see, when testosterone is elevated, it can cause a lot of problems inside the body.
Estrogen is elevated.
I'm sorry, when estrogen is elevated.
And we'll get to that here in a minute about how testosterone converts to estrogen when you get too much of all that fun stuff. But first of all, let's tell us the negative role that estrogen has when it gets too high. Because that's something a lot of doctors don't look at, a lot of men don't think about. So what can high estrogen do to impact the body negatively?
Well, we know that estrogen in men increases body fat tissue. It causes cell proliferation. It even could cause cells to grow in the prostate. You know, a lot of people thought that prostate problems were from androgens or testosterone. We know now that it could be from elevated estrogen. My point is that if a man has elevated body fat, he could have high estrogen levels, but a lot of the physicians are not checking estrogen. Okay, estrogen, you need to check that and look at the estrogen to testosterone ratio in a male, as well as all the other multiple metabolic markers in order to keep them healthy. And a guy's not going to lose weight exercising if his estrogen is elevated.
Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, so, whoa, symptoms. All right, so what are the symptoms of high estrogen here? You got a story, you got man boobs, just kind of like this picture here. What happened with that high estrogen?
Yeah, a lot of clients don't understand that the environmental toxins can estrogenize all of us, okay? The environment causes something called xenoestrogen. So every chemical that you rub on your body can elevate estrogen levels. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of physicians don't understand the environmental impact have on hormonal disruption in our body. So you combine that with alcohol. Alcohol can elevate estrogen levels. You know, alcohol and simple carbohydrates, you know, add to the perfect storm of obesity. But doctors, when they don't check the estrogen or they don't block the estrogen, you know, they tell the guy you need to lose weight and change your diet when the guy's estrogen is going to remain elevated. It's going to slow down his thyroid. It's going to cause a lot of metabolic problems in his body. So until we block that estrogen or lower the estrogen levels, he's not going to see any benefits from exercise.
Gotcha. So environment, food, stress,
of course,
all that stuff lead to high estrogen. And don't leave the audience hanging. Tell us about your boob story.
Yeah, a very hot topic right now is plastic surgery for young kids.
No. Tell us about how you got man boobs because you're drinking too much estrogen.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's the one.
Okay, all right, yeah.
All right, let's the technical. Okay. Let's hear the man boob story.
Yeah. So I was a triathlete racing all over the country, and I wanted to shift over to soy protein.
Oh, yeah, doesn't everybody?
So soy was healthy. I had this triathlon coach recommend soy protein for me. So I'm running like, you know, 20, 30 miles a week, and I started eating the soy like I was supposed to. Well, I started noticing that as I was running months, I started getting, you know, my chest was bouncing. I was gaining fat. I was getting the man boobs from the estrogen in the soy protein. And I'm like, holy mackerel. And then nobody told me about that, so I cut it out immediately. But again, nobody thought about soy elevating estrogen levels. Nobody thought about the environmental toxins. So.
And that's the thing. Soy is an elevator of estrogen, and it's also a cash crop like corn. So it's in everything. So it's all over the place, and that's part of the food that we eat.
I was eating a lot of it. I mean, I cut out all protein, and I just started eating only soy protein. And within a period of 3 months, I noticed that when I was running.
Wow.
I felt it right up here, and obviously, you know, I was gaining a lot of body fat up here, and I know it was directly from estrogen, because as soon as I tweaked my diet, you know, it went away. But here I am, thinking I'm healthy, I'm elevating my estrogen levels, I'm pushing my testosterone levels in the toilet, I'm racing all over the country, and I'm wondering why I'm not recovering, and my joints are hurting. I'm like, what? And it was the soy that was in the...
Soy had a big hit. It came up, and then now people are starting to realize the negative effects.
Exactly.
So but it's still, like I said, a cash crop, so it goes out there, it's put in everything. The perfect storm inside of a man's body as he ages is testosterone is going to decrease, and then with all the food, environment, the stress that he's going through, estrogen is going to elevate, and that leads to a lot of health issues as well too. So talk a little bit about that and how it relates to some of these pictures we got here.
Yeah, in Orlando we have a couple of hundred urologists out there that are checking men every day, and they're trying to help them with testosterone, but they're not measuring estrogen. And as you can see, as the abdominal body fat, or as body fat increases, you elevate an enzyme called aromatase that takes a guy's testosterone and converts it to estrogen. Well, our treatment protocols, we look at aromatase and we could block it. Okay, we could block that. So as a man ages and as his testosterone drops, as he gains more body fat and his estrogen is elevated, if a doctor puts him on testosterone, it'll make it worse.
Gotcha.
You see what I mean? It'll make it worse. That's what the science is. And these guys, testosterone is a very hot topic. It's a multi-billion-dollar market. Doctors are writing prescriptions for testosterone all the time, but physiologically, the guys are not feeling good. Physiologically, they're gaining more weight. So this research is out there. This is why we spend a lot of time educating physicians.
And that's also dangerous because doctors are injecting too much testosterone, and people think of testosterone, oh, it's all about muscle and libido. Okay,
Right.
But that's not true.
Right, exactly. And a lot of the dosing protocols that I see, I meet clients all the time in my town. I know everybody in this little bubble. Doctors are writing prescriptions for 200 milligrams a week, 100 milligrams of testosterone a week, injections into the muscle, which is highly vascular. If your testicles only release and your adrenal glands release 8 to 10 milligrams, and you hit the body with an injection of 100, 200 milligrams, then that extra testosterone, when it spikes, is going to convert to estrogen. So the doctors right now in my town are writing protocols for, that were the same protocols in the 1950s. That needs to change. You need to dial in these treatment protocols specifically for each patient instead of just doing high dose injections. That's old school. There's creams and there's compounding creams. We could even put estrogen blockers in creams right now. We could put people on certain diets that assist with estrogen blockers. There's medication that can block estrogen and aromatase, that are out there. But again, it's a numbers game. The doctor's got to see 30 people a day, testosterone. The guy gets it, thinks he's going to get help and feel better, and he ends up getting worse.
This is where patients need to educate themselves too, because they hear all the ads, testosterone, so they go in thinking, doc, I just need testosterone.
Right.
When really, if the doc puts them on an estrogen blocker, their testosterone naturally elevates.
Exactly.
Okay, and you don't need to be injected all this stuff and spiking your testosterone, which, like you said, converts over to estrogen anyway, so you're not even doing yourself any favors.
It's about education.
So it's important to look at estrogen levels too.
Exactly.
So if you're a male going to the doctor, say, doc, what are my estrogen levels? And the doc goes, then you need to find a new doctor or say, check my estrogen before you start shooting me up.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so too much testosterone, we just talked about, converts over to estrogen. But we want to talk about some of these bodybuilders because, like you said, carrying muscle is very expensive, okay? And then also what kind of damage they're doing to their body and their gut, these large bodybuilders, and also what we can learn from them as well, because you've tested a lot of them.
Yeah, working with the bodybuilders and drilling down on what they do. Now, back in Arnold Schwarzenegger's time, they didn't have the availability to all the drugs that they have now. And these guys really are masters at mixing and matching certain drugs to improve their metabolism. They use insulin, which can be very dangerous. They use growth hormone. They use IGF-1. They use something called synthol right now. And you can see this area here, they call this the growth hormone belly, that their intestinal tract is actually getting larger from the amount of growth hormone that they're using. So there's again, I'm not shooting this down. If you want to be a bodybuilder, rock on. But I like studying these canaries in the tunnel because what we can learn from them is not available in any studies. To maintain this much muscle mass is very expensive and compromises the metabolism, okay? And we can learn a lot from these guys on how to help the elderly. So these are like scientific experiments in real time.
Nice.
that I drill down on,
Okay, and you have a lot of experience in that, huh? All right, so finally, estrogen too high, oh my gosh, how do I know? Got to get tested before I start juicing up with testosterone. What can men do in the meantime to kind of help themselves out?
Well, first thing men can do is obviously, call it a plug, call it whatever you want, come to the Russ Scala YouTube channel and get educated. Go to your doctors and ask for the correct blood work. Get the testosterone and estrogen ratio together. Get your IGF-1 levels tested. If the doctor offers a nutritional test, get a nutritional test. Look at your intestinal tract. You are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. A lot of times your intestinal tract is out of balance from years of a bad diet. So what we do is we look at the body multifactorially. We don't just treat testosterone in isolation. We look at multiple metabolic markers in your body, and then we slowly move you into a state of wellness. Most doctors are trained to treat sick people. If you're starting to gain a little weight and your energy's in the toilet, what's he going to tell you? You need to work out.
Yeah.
Here's some Prozac for your brain chemistry, you know, and then pat you on the fanny and send you out the door because that doctor's got to see 30 people a day.
Gotcha.
So that's the world we live in. So become the CEO of your own health. Get educated. Learn about what questions to ask, and we have all that on our YouTube channel.
Very cool. And the important thing is that it's not going to happen overnight. You know, it takes a process because it took you so long to get to where you're at now. So now it's going to take a process to get you out of it.
Exactly. Well done.
So check us out, YouTube, Russ Scala YouTube channel, and also Scala Precision Health.